Happy Saturday. Deep dive. It's pretty striking to hear that even people considered prime borrowers, folks with good credit, are falling behind on debt. That insight from Michael Bordenero really makes you stop and think.
It really does. It kind of highlights how surface stability doesn't always tell the whole story, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And understanding the historical context, especially locally, can give us such valuable perspective on these things.
hmm Local economic shifts, past decisions,
Hmm.
they all feed into the present.
Absolutely.
Right.
And that's precisely what we're diving into today. This one's tailored for you, Brad, and everyone over at Ashley County Now on Facebook who's interested in local history.
Right. We've looked through this great collection of articles and essays you're publishing this Saturday.
Yep. Drawn from your work at Ashley County Now, and also the fantastic Ovid T. Switzer collection. Big thanks for keeping that history alive.
It's a really fascinating mix, isn't it? You've got everything from the coming of fiber internet,
Which is huge news.
yeah, to the ambitious story of the Creamer Lumber Company.
And then there's the rise of Tyson Foods, a massive shift in Arkansas agriculture.
Mm-hmm. And the political side, too, with O.T. Switzer Sr. fighting the machine.
Plus those amazing little glimpses into daily life. Ice houses, smoke houses.
Circuit riders, Judge Willis and his woodpecker. It's quite a range.
It seems scattered maybe,
Hmm.
but we think there are some really interesting threads connecting them all.
Definitely. Our goal today really is to unpack these sources you've shared, Brad. Pull out the key takeaways, maybe find some surprising connections.
And just offer a deeper understanding of the forces that have shaped Ashley County. Sound good?
Sounds great. Where should we start?
Let's start with the future, actually. That jump from, well, what you called mule internet to fiber optic. That's a big deal.
Oh, absolutely. The contrast you describe in the article is stark, going from, 25 down, 1 up, for $150.
Yeah. And looking forward to gigabit speeds for like $92 a month. That's a massive leap.
You can really feel the writer's pain with the current setup. The analogies are great.
The caveman on the internet. Etch-a-sketch.
Yeah, or the router having a tired squirrel spinning a rusty wheel inside. We've all felt that frustration, haven't we?
Totally. Or sending carrier pigeons with thumb drives. It paints such a vivid picture of the struggle.
It does. But beneath the humor, getting that 1,000 megabit symmetrical fiber, it's not just faster internet. It fundamentally changes what's possible for, work, communication, everything.
For Ashley County Now itself, I imagine it's transformational.
Absolutely. It just shows how crucial infrastructure still is, even now in 2025. It's real, tangible progress for the community you're serving, Brad.
Definitely. Okay, so let's shift gears and go back in time a bit. To 1911 and John Cameron Creamer's huge plans for Creamer Lumber Company in Crossett.
Right. This story, likely from the Switzer collection materials you have, is all about big ambition.
And the scale's kind of mind-blowing for 1911, isn't it? $2.2 million in capital stock.
Huge. That was the largest corporate charter in Arkansas for quite a while. And buying up almost 80,000 acres of bottomland hardwood?
He wasn't thinking small.
Not at all. He was aiming to produce 40 million board feet a year. That's directly competing with Crossett Lumber's pine operations.
What made him focus so heavily on hardwood, do you think? Was that unusual then?
Well, it might have been. Pine was more established in that area. Maybe he saw an untapped market. Or perhaps the processing or transport challenges were different. It's a good question. It certainly required massive investment.
Yeah, like that $800,000 mortgage just for the land from American Timber Corporation.
Right. And then building the 7-mile railroad spur, Creamer Junction, just to connect to the existing lines. He was really putting everything into this.
You can imagine the buzz locally, right? The Ashley County Eagle, the trade papers, all reporting on this huge new industry coming.
Oh, for sure. Lots of optimism, hopes for jobs, economic growth.
But the article you're publishing, Brad, it hints at the vulnerabilities of dreams rooted in the bottomland. It foreshadows that it didn't quite work out.
Yeah, there were likely significant risks, maybe unpredictable river levels for log transport, market swings for hardwood, managing that much land, economic downturns, any number of things could have tripped it up.
And now, all that's left is that single concrete foundation block.
The ghost mill.
Yeah, what a name. It's such a physical reminder of this, unfulfilled potential.
It really is. A testament to how even the biggest plans can face unexpected hurdles. It's part of the economic story, the successes, and the failures.
Okay, let's pivot again. From lumber dreams to chicken kings. The rise of poultry farming, especially in northwest Arkansas, contrasting with the decline of Delta cotton.
That's another huge Arkansas economic shift. As cotton became less dominant, mechanization, market changes, poultry really took off, particularly up in the Ozarks with Tyson.
And it started pretty small, right?
Yeah,
John Tyson just hauling chickens because the fruit business wasn't doing well.
exactly. It wasn't some grand strategy initially. It was more about finding a way, filling a need, connecting growers to markets.
Just basic hauling.
hmm But then World War II really gave it a boost.
Right, the beef rationing, the subsidies.
Yeah, suddenly poultry became a much more attractive option, both for farmers and for guys like Tyson hauling it.
Thanking the contracting system, which your source notes had parallels to sharecropping. That's an interesting comparison.
It is. The similarity lies in the economic dependence. Growers were technically independent contractors, but they often relied heavily on the company Tyson. In this case, for chicks, feed, and the market itself. They carried a lot of the risk.
So similar power dynamics, even in a different industry.
Potentially, yeah. It's a recurring theme sometimes in agricultural economies. And then Don Tyson, the son, he really scaled it up massively.
The vertical integration model.
Exactly. Controlling everything from the feed mills to the processing plants to the trucks. That efficiency revolutionized the industry, not just in Arkansas.
So poultry kind of replaced cotton as the big agricultural driver in the state.
In many ways, yes. But as your article touches on, Brad, some of the underlying challenges for rural areas reliance on one big industry, labor dynamics. Those things didn't necessarily disappear with the shift.
Right. Okay, let's turn to politics now. O.T. Switzer, Senior. He's a key figure in these historical essays from the collection you have, Brad. A mid-century player in Ashley County.
Yeah, and portrayed as someone really pushing back against what he called machine politics and corporate influence.
What did machine politics mean back then in that context?
Well, it often meant these tightly controlled political groups, maybe using patronage, backroom deals, not always transparent, sometimes putting specific interests ahead of the communities. Switzer positioned himself against that.
And as chairman of the Ashley County Democratic Central Committee for, over a decade? He was right in the thick of it.
Definitely. His letters, like the one from 1958 about the attempt to oust his brother Billy, they really show his perspective.
He saw it as an attack on his representing the laboring man and the small businessman.
Right. And he named his opposition two Eisenhower Democrats who are executives of a big corporation and three tired old politicians. He wasn't shy about it.
And he managed to hold on to his chairmanship, right? That 1711 vote?
Yeah, which suggests he had significant grassroots support. He knew how to fight within the system.
That quote of his is great. You don't destroy rats by burning down the barn.
It really sums up his approach, doesn't it? Strategic, pragmatic, working within the structure to make changes rather than just tearing everything down. Kind of defiant, maybe?
And his influence lasted. He later became chairman emeritus of the Arkansas Parks and Tourism Commission.
Yeah, showing a commitment beyond just those local fights.
Yeah.
And that vision he expressed for Crossit.
Oh, yeah. Read that again.
Crossit was never meant to be just a place where trees get turned into product. It was meant to be a town where people build things that last, families, faith, and futures.
That really gets to a deeper level, doesn't it? Beyond just the economics, the importance of community itself.
Absolutely. It speaks volumes about his values.
Okay, let's dive even further back with some of those everyday life stories you feature, Brad. The ice houses and smoke houses in the Bayou Bartholomew region.
These are fantastic glimpses into life before refrigeration. Resourcefulness was key. That McGehee ice house storing 600-pound blocks for rail cars. Just imagine the logistics.
Wow, 600 pounds just to keep things cold. And the smokehouses preserving meat for the winter.
Yeah.
That must have been such a vital seasonal rhythm.
Totally. Essential for survival and often a community activity, I bet.
Yeah.
And you also mentioned grist mills and the bootleggers using sorghum during WWII sugar rationing.
Yeah, adapting to scarcity in perhaps unexpected ways.
Indeed. Then there's that wonderful story about Judge William S. Willis in Fountain Hill, 1849.
The woodpecker incident.
It's just brilliant. A courtroom on a porch, interrupted by nature, and the judge's very direct order.
Take a gun and kill that DD woodpecker.
Yeah.
You can't make this stuff up. It shows such a different, more personal, maybe more informal style of justice back then.
Oh, completely. Much less formal, much more driven by the immediate circumstances and, well, the judge's personality.
A far cry from today's courtrooms. Okay, one last historical glimpse.
Yeah.
The early religious life. Brush arbors and circuit riders.
Yeah, the brush arbors, simple open-air meeting places, really speaks to the early days of community building and worship in scattered settlements.
And then characters like Rev Jawbone Shelton, the Hardshell Baptist.
Known for fiery sermons, maybe not grammatically perfect, but passionate. That line about the Red Sea not freezing over.
Memorable, for sure. What does that tell us about faith back then?
Maybe that connection and passionate delivery were highly valued, relating to the hardships people faced, offering guidance and community, maybe more than strict theological points sometimes.
And the circuit riders weren't just preachers, were they?
No, they were vital communication links, bringing news, mail sometimes, connecting these isolated places. Faith and community connection were really intertwined.
So wrapping this all up, especially for you, Brad, and the readers at Ashley County Now, we've bounced around quite a bit through Ashley County's story.
We really have. From modern tech like fiber to past industrial dreams like Kremer lumber, the big shift with Tyson, the political fights of Switzer, and these really personal stories of daily life long ago.
And hopefully as you share these pieces, Brad, people see how these different threads, technology, industry, agriculture, politics, daily life, they all weave together.
Yeah, they provide a much richer context for understanding Ashley County today. Knowing about past ambitions and failures like Kremer's might inform how people think about future development, for instance.
Exactly. And huge thanks again to you, Brad, and Ashley County Now for pulling these stories together and sharing them. And of course, to the Ovid T. Switzer Collection for preserving such vital records.
Your work making this history accessible is really important, Brad.
So, maybe a final thought for you and your readers to consider. Looking at all these dreams, big and small, that have shaped Ashley County Creamer's empire, the promise of fiber, what kind of legacy is being built now? How does that past inform the present, and what does it mean for the future of the community?
It's a good question to reflect on.